Hi everyone, Sarah Gough here for My Favourite Things stamps. I wanted to make a quick video today to show you a couple of tips and tricks that I use with Die-namics. I get a lot of emails asking how I layer my Die-namics, so I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can achieve that look. I'm also going to talk a little bit about how you can get even more out of your Die-namics by perhaps looking at the negative pieces that are left behind when you cut in a slightly different way. So let's talk about Die-namics. These are Die-namics. They are wonderful steel dies. They're made in the United States and they're available from mftstamps.com. They're absolutely amazing. Since I started using Die-namics, I basically don't use my punches anymore. The reason is Die-namics are never going to go dull. They work on pressure in your die cutting machine. So unlike punches, you're never going to have to try and sharpen them and you're never going to get rough edges. I love that you can cut a variety of materials with them, including felt, fabric, cork, and thin chipboard cuts beautifully with these. I've been using a lot of chipboard with them recently. I will give a link to My Favourite Things site where you can see the stack for your die cutting machine. I use these in both my Cuttlebug and my Big Shot, and they work brilliantly. So to start with, I was going to talk a little bit about layering Die-namics. And we'll start with the simplest idea, and this is one that you probably all do, but just in case it's new to anyone else. So on this card here, I've used the scallop Die-namic, and if you see behind the pen and paper there, I have put a second scallop just out of cardstock. Now, I'll quite often layer my Die-namics this way if I want to give them a little bit more pop and have them stand out from a busy background paper like I did with this one. So that's as simple can get. Here is my scalloped die. Scallop. Try saying that 10 times fast. And here is a second one, and all I do is just layer them together with as much or as little border as you like. Now, I'm also going to talk about ways you can get more out of your Die-namics dies today. So here are the off-cut pieces from cutting those two, and I think that is really cute as well. So don't forget about your off-cut pieces. Other dies that works really, really well with are the Catch a Wave Die-namic. So here's the die, here's the die cut piece, but here's the offcut, and as you can see, it's just as cute as the die cut piece. So in one swoop, you have two pieces that layer together to create your really, really cute waves really quickly and easily. This also works with the fresh cut grass Die-namic, upside down. So here is the die cut piece, and here is the offcut. And what I like about this offcut is it's very slightly different from the original die, so when you layer them together, so it gives you that unmowed look. It's really cute. Now, one die that looks quite different, and I really like that about this die, depending on if you're using the positive or the negative piece, is the notebook edge Die-namic. So here's my cut piece, and I'm just going to trim this with scissors just to pop that out of there. So here's your notebook edge. Mine is not cut very straight, as you can see, but what I wanted to show you was this is the edge that's left behind when you cut that Die-namic, and I think it's so cute. It's kind of retro, it's kind of 70s, and you'll see that border on my cards quite a bit. So there's a Die-namic that gives you two remarkably different looks in one go. Okay. So I'm most often asked how I get these little borders around my Die-namic shapes. I'm afraid there's no amazing trick to it. It is as simple as grabbing your die. Here I have the polka dot greetings die, and your cardstock, tracing around it with a pencil. Now, because Die-namics have this perfect little border, you can get a really good look if you just trace around it and cut it out. So that is as technical as it gets, I'm afraid. I don't mind doing a little bit of hand cutting to create that little border. Like I say, sometimes it's useful just for popping up your layer off your cardstock. And to be honest, I'm never that careful about how I do it. I will go round with a sanding block afterwards, and of course this would be much easier if nobody was watching. I will go around with a sanding block and get rid of any rough edges and that sort of thing, but generally nobody is going to be getting out a ruler and checking to make sure that that border is completely even all the way around. But there you have it. So when you turn that over, you've got your nice shape, and I'm going to layer 2 vanilla shapes so you can't really see, but oh, you can. There you go. So there's your 2 shapes layered together. Now, there are a couple of cheating ways that you could do this very easily. So we'll put that one to the side. One is to cut another shape. And this is going to work better with some shapes than others. And it will leave a bit of a gap, so it depends on whether or not you like that or not. Cut it out. And then you can use that to create a bit of a shadow effect by layering the 2 pieces behind your die shape as such. There is an even easier way. I'm going to show you really quickly. Alright, now another way that you can get that border effect around your die really quickly and simply is just to cut your shape, take your marker and trace around it with the felt end pushed quite firmly, and if you draw around it you're going to get this really nice bordered edge. Now I'll do that quite a bit on some of the smaller dies. It's a very quick and easy way to get that border all around your shape. Alright, now the last way that I was going to show you today that you can get more out of your Dynamics is by using them as a stencil. So this is a fancy flourish dynamic, which has been very, very popular. This is the shape that it cuts out, which is gorgeous. Now you can use this a couple of different ways. You can use the negative that popped up on a background, would look gorgeous, and that works for any of the dies. They all work really, really well as windows. Here's the leftover from the Sweet Stack Labels die that I used just earlier, which is gorgeous. So you can use those in that capacity all the time. But this is one of the things that I love doing with the Flourish Dynamics in particular. So you just want to cut it from a piece of cardstock that you're not too concerned with destroying. Get some ink and whatever dabbing tool you like, and you just want to hold your mask in place and just sponge over top. And when you lift your mask, you're going to end up with something like this. So you can make it all the same colour throughout. You can do it like I have there, sort of having it fading in and out. And then what you can do is take your die cut piece and sort of layer it over your sponged part, just to create like a bit of a shadow effect. I'm getting even more shadows in here at the moment because of the light. But hopefully that's shown you a couple of different ways that you can use Dynamics. They're all pretty simple. I love when I get a new dynamic to just go through, cut it once, and just have a look at what the negative looks like, what the positive image looks like, if I think it would look great stenciled, and most of them do. Don't forget about things like the clouds. Using those as a stencil looks wonderful. But hopefully that'll have you looking at your dynamics in new and exciting ways. See you later. Bye.